Well, this week we thought we'd travel long distance all the way across the street here at Civic Center Plaza from my office at City Hall to the main library here in the beautiful 6th floor in the rare book collection. And I wanted to come here because I wanted to emphasize what happened this week and really put a human face on it in just a moment by emphasizing, though, what we did in Washington, D.C. I went out in the last couple of days and met with Speaker Pelosi, Senator Dianne Feinstein, had the opportunity to meet with Senator Reid and 14 other key Democratic senators, including visiting the White House and talking with the Vice President and the President and hearing from them, as well as Tim Geithner, Secretary Geithner, and other members of the administration, Larry Sumner and others, to talk about jobs and talk about the economy. My sole purpose, though, was to focus on our jobs program here in San Francisco, Jobs Now, and the money that still remains in this country. Over $5 billion, again, was appropriated through our TANF program that has been only drawn down in 17 states. Only 20% of the money has been pulled down. And it's a program that has created over 1,540 jobs in our city alone, but it's due to expire September 30th of this year. Again, 20% of the money, $5 billion overall for direct wage subsidies in cities large and small, states large and small throughout the country. Only 17 states have taken advantage of it. Billions of dollars remain. Folks don't know about it. And we went to Washington, D.C. to make sure that our legislative leaders know about it, members of the administration know about it, and that we get this jobs bill extended. I'd like to think we made a lot of progress. One thing I can assure we did do is we let people know about something that, candidly, most folks at the Capitol had never heard of. It got lost in that $787 billion stimulus. And now we're hoping that we can just get some amendments. We actually helped draft the amendments and help get those processed through the Senate and their new jobs bill with the good work of the president and now his renewed laser-like focus on jobs and the economy. We're here, though, because this program that we launched last year that's created those 1,540 jobs has helped not just employees, but also helped employers. And one of them is Internet Archives. It's a company that was founded here in San Francisco, and a company that has taken advantage, not in a negative way, in a very enlightened way, of this federal stimulus program by hiring real people. This is exactly what the stimulus program should be doing. This program that we've advanced has hired through Internet Archives and their director of books, who's here today, 77 people.
Actually, we just broke 100 this week.
How's that for ignorance? I didn't even know that.
So we're thrilled.
So you're just hiring up literally dozens and dozens of people, it seems, every month now. I remember we first met, and Bob Miller is the director of books of Internet Archives. You had 5 or 6 people, and you're really hoping to get to maybe 50, and there was a crazy ambition of 100. But you've been taking this program to heart, and you've been hiring people at this remarkable clip to do what?
We're digitizing books. We're trying to make an online digital public library that's available for all. So we have a wonderful partnership with the San Francisco Public Library we're sitting in right now. We're digitizing a lot of their materials. We're working with the city leaders, the civic leaders, the employment leaders to take good people that have gotten, unfortunately, strafed in a down market, put them back to work, give them respect, give them new training, give them an opportunity to participate, not just for a job, but we think to really create a new dynamic in terms of education, research, and access to information that sits in these walls here.
Seriously, if you didn't have this Jobs Now program and the stimulus money, would you have been able to hire 100 folks?
No, we'd be struggling. 6 months before I saw you, we had 10 people working in San Francisco. We now, as I mentioned, have over 100, and I'm looking to hire another 42 people, 10 people per week for the next 4 weeks.
Wow.
So actually, it was a little bit late getting here because I was over interviewing people, and we found some good qualified San Francisco people.
Well, let's talk about one of them, Tracy Gutierrez. Tracy, you are one of the people that were employed at Internet Archives. You were unemployed.
Correct.
Prior. You heard about this program how?
I heard about this program at Career Links, and as soon as the stimulus program started, I applied right away. And I interviewed with 2 companies, and Internet Archive was one of the companies that I viewed for.
And you've got, and tell us without getting too personal, you were out of work for how long?
For 6 months.
6 months. You used to work over at Mervyn's?
I worked at Mervyn's, and when they closed, I was unemployed up until July.
Wow, and you were getting unemployment benefits? What
Unemployment
happened
benefits and CalWorks. I had to apply for CalWorks to support my family.
Wow, and you have 3 kids?
I actually have 4.
4 kids?
4 kids. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so you and the prospects in this job market were difficult in those 6 months.
Right, I was applying at least to six or 7 places a week, and I was either underqualified or overqualified.
Right.
So,
and here Tracy walks in. She clearly has a professional background.
Mm-hmm.
She's a victim of the macroeconomics and, of course, the contraction of this well-known business, at least out here on the West Coast, Mervyn's. And she comes in utterly qualified, but you're in a position where before this jobs program, you wouldn't necessarily been able to afford to hire her.
We couldn't do it. It's been an absolute game changer for us. And it's also reinvigorated my existing staff, because people like Tracy come in, they're excited, they're ready to dive in, and so we've raised our total game. So as an employer, first of all, it was a fantastically easy program to qualify for.
Good.
It took less time to fill the paperwork out than it takes me to commute to work. We get reimbursed regularly from the city.
Right.
The support staff that work for you have been nothing short of fantastic. If I could hire them as my HR department, I would go ahead and do that.
That's great.
And I think the ultimate picture that comes back is working with people like Tracy. It puts a smile on my face when I walk in each day knowing that I've helped change somebody's life.
That's great. Well, Tracy, thank you for being here, and thank you for putting yourself out and on that job hunt and being an example for us and an example for your kids. There's no greater dignity than a job.
absolutely.
And the opportunity is self-evident here for you. And the goal now for all of us is to try to get this program extended so it doesn't end September 30th.
We had a lot of work to do. We've got great people. We can add, we can expand. You know, we want to be your new best friend in San Francisco. You've been our best friend, so we want to keep it that way.
Like, and Tracy, just other people out there that may be looking for a job and struggling, you recommend filling out these forms and learning more about the jobs now?
Absolutely. I've already sent at least 3 friends of mine down to the Career Link Center to look into the Jobs Now program. And I was also able to get my husband hired at the Internet Archive as well.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great. Yeah. A family affair. Well,
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Living example of what this jobs program is about, and I thank you both for being here. And again, that's why we went back to Washington, D.C., and our hope and expectation is that Congress takes a good look at the success of this program. This is a jobs program that works, a stimulus program that's producing real results. And I want to again thank you both for being here, and we'll be back with a little bit more of an update on the week in just 1 second. Well, I hope you can see why we went back to Washington, D.C. to continue to support this very successful program. And I want to thank Speaker Pelosi for her steadfast support of the extension. Senator Feinstein, Senator Boxer, and others that we met with that all expressed strong support for extending this part of the stimulus program beyond that September 30th deadline. By the way, if you're an employer, or for that matter, employee or someone that's unemployed, please call 311 to learn more about this program. 311, ask about the Jobs Now program as an employer or as someone that is a prospective employee so that we can make sure that you get more information and we can try to connect you to a job in real time. Speaking of connecting people, I hope we also can connect the Board of Supervisors in my office. I was very disappointed, and I mean this with absolute conviction and sincerity. You know, last week in my State of the City, it was really a jobs focus, and it was about economic development, but there was 3 specific pieces of legislation that I asked and called on the board to calendar. All I want is to calendar it. I'd love the support, but at least give us the opportunity to make a case. And for whatever reason, the board is now rejecting even calendaring these pieces of legislation. A payroll tax exemption for all net new jobs, a tax credit for employers that currently are providing health care for their employees, and a payroll tax exemption extension for biotech and life science companies. By the way, a program that the board recently, or a few years ago, adopted and supported. These three pieces of legislation have been trailing as part of our local economic stimulus plan. If you don't like the idea, I think it's incumbent upon us to come up with a better idea. And I want to just encourage the board, if you have a better idea to create jobs in San Francisco, to provide opportunities for people like Tracy Gutierrez and her husband, to allow the opportunity for companies like Internet Archives to grow and to make a case for why they want to stay in cities like San Francisco, then I am here. I'm open to good arguments and new ideas, but I haven't heard many, and it's not a critique, it's just an observation. I'm someone that came from the private sector. I've had the opportunity to create a few thousand jobs over the course of the life of my businesses, and I know that the importance that we placed in terms of that job creation on signals and on substance coming from City Hall. And this, I think, these three specific pieces of legislation not only send the right signal, but substantively address one of the principal concerns I hear about job creation in the city, and that's how costly it is to do business in the city. So please, to members of the board, at least calendar the item. Don't like it, reject it, and then give us a better idea or send that idea up and make a case for it with your colleagues. But let's not just reject the idea outright and not even allow us the opportunity and the dignity to make our case during the legislative process. So that's my call on the board. Again, I try to say this with respect, and I mean that with respect, but at the same time with an intensity of desire, because this issue is not going away anytime soon. We have a lot of work ahead of us. 9.4% unemployment rate in this city still, fifth lowest in the state. But again, that bar is remarkably high in terms of that rate, and we've got to bring it down by working together. So I appreciate the opportunity to share some of the success stories with you this week of our Jobs Now program and the work we've done at the federal level, and obviously the work that's needed to be done here at the local level at City Hall. And I look forward to continuing to reach out to members of the board that have any question in the next few weeks so that we can move this legislation forward. Take care, everybody.